Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome to all our devotees, viewers, and on our special guest Mohan Bhai. This is the first talk show we are having in the 2022, and basically we all of us know that Mohan Bhai don't need any introductions, and our viewers are know about it. Today we have changed a little bit format. So the first we're going to be try to understand about our festivals. And recently we had a Makar Sankranti. In today we are celebrating as a Tamil and Telugu family Kavadi festival. Yesterday we had a Poshi Punam. January month is all about the festival too. But what we know about the festivals and what else we can know through this our Dharma Talk, technology, and in the same time our experts who gives always best advice, best knowledge, and share the valuable information with you. So first, I will ask Mohan Bhai to give a few minute introductions, and then we're going to have a nice chat. What else we can do? So Mohan Bhai, hope you are well, family members are well, and welcome back again in a 2022 after a long time. But yes, we started, and we will be continue. So let's go through about Makar Sankranti, and let's see, and after we will have a discussion about what our youth are missing from these celebrations.
Ji, Gopal Vyasji, thank you very much. And again, thanks a lot to all your viewers and everybody who tune in to be able to participate in this. Once again, as always, we welcome their sharing and their support and their questions and queries. And yes, like you said, sometimes there's a bit of gap, but then we always bounce back and come back with something to talk about, particularly issues that we think are topical in the sense that they have socio spiritual significance to us, especially those of us who are following the Sanatan Dharma. But in general, it is applicable to all of us Indians, and that is what I usually try to pick up because I have a questioning mind and I try to always question a lot of things. And but then when I do this, I do that with a huge amount of respect for the scientific thinking of our ancestors and our rishis and munis who have formulated some things, because I always consider the Indic society as being the longest continuous civilization in the world, with almost 10,000 years of human memory, of human experience. So I'm always looking at, pearls of wisdom or gems of understanding in various practices, even though we do so many things blindly. So yes, coming to that, currently, just the other day we had Makar Sankranti festival, and we know that it is celebrated almost across India. Now we must understand, India is a huge country. We have a lot of differences, even though we are ethnically same. You understand the cuisines, the languages, the practices, and the weather. All of these are different in different regions. I mean, that's why we call it subcontinent. And yet, when a festival arrives, it's performed almost with little different shades, but almost around the same day, same time, with the same fervor and the same enthusiasm within the family. So, like you say, if it is Makar Sankranti for us in Andhra, it is Pongal in Tamil Nadu, it is Lodi in Punjab, Magha Mela in UP, and then it goes on in Bihar, and I think Bihu in if I'm correct, in Bengal. But they also have the same. I mean, everywhere, length and breadth of the country, there is some kind of a festival that is celebrated often. And when it comes to Sankranti, I know that in the north, always on the Lodi night, usually a bonfire is lit and the friends and family and the people around the community gather, and then they put it up and then they go around it, and everyone enjoys the evening with the warmth of the fire. A fire is also done in southern communities where we used to do it on the 14th morning before, after our morning bath and everything. We would get ready. Then, whilst mom is busy preparing some nice sweet meats and other things for the puja, we go light up the fire, everything. Then the puja is ready. We offer the prasadam to the fire, and also then we continue to do all that. So, but then the kind of cuisines that are prepared are also slightly varied, but more or less they're same. I mean, in the north during the season, sesame seeds and sesame oil is very important, and is very popular. You also get those. Sesame is called til in our language, and we call til ke laddu, til ka gajak. All those things are done. Now til or sesame, if we try to understand why is it so popular there and why is it actually used across the country, but very focused in the north in any case, particularly in the UP belt, is because firstly we must understand that the wild form of sesame is found in many places, including Africa and Asia and East Asia, the wild variety. But the cultivated variety, and the oldest and its maximum cultivars, has been found in the Indian subcontinent, which again points to the fact that because the archaeologically the oldest seeds have been found in India almost 5000 years ago, which means roughly 3000 BC, sesame farming was already happening. And it became much more pronounced around 2000 BC, 4000 years from now. And 2000 BC is the time when mostly the Rajasthan, some parts of Punjab, and some parts of Pakistan, those areas ran dry because the river Saraswati went dry. And the beauty is the sesame is that kind of a crop that doesn't require much water and actually can grow almost even at the edge of deserts. So you see how history, archaeology, practices, how they start linking together. And now you have to understand what is the beneficial aspects of sesame. Now that is till. When it comes to our Ayurveda, it says that because in the preceding winter months, because you see the 6 months before Sankranti is like the winter months, the colder season, our body needs more heat because it's colder, so we end up actually consuming a little more than normal food intake. That food intake then leaves some residual fat and residual mucus in our body. What happens is that from Sankranti onwards, around this time, it is prescribed at least 42 days. You must eat a lot of sesame, til ke laddus, or til ka tel, then without all of that. What sesame does is it's got so much of heat in it that it actually melts the mucus away in the body. When you have it continuously for 20, 30, 40 days, it starts generating that kind of internal heat that is required to melt off the mucus. And then when the mucus melts off, obviously it leaves some space, and then there is vayu, that is air, which fills up in the body. Then you need to get rid of that excess air, which is where the tilka oil or the sesame oil helps in that. And that is why this becomes such a favorite cuisine and a prescribed cuisine, and all that there. Whilst in the south, we also have at this time when they say pongal, it's mainly because the rice harvesting is happening, so you create a dish out of that and everything. So we see this linkage of our historical practices, why we do it, etc., is very interesting and very fascinating. And but essentially, Sankranti or Makar Sankranti, as we call it, has got two very important significant points. One is that it is called Makar Sankranti, which means Sankranti means going into. Makara means the constellation of Capricorn. So it is that part of the time when the sun is entering the constellation of Capricorn, Makara. So it is called Makara Sankranti. Why is it important? Because normally it coincides with the Uttarayan. That means the sun. I mean, for the sun, what happens is, if we notice throughout the year, it rises at one point in the sky and then slowly shifts to the south. As it keeps shifting to the south, when it's in the middle, we get the equinox, when the sun, the day and the night are equals. As it keeps going more and more extreme to the south, and I'm talking about northern hemisphere, the once it reaches the extreme south, at that point it again starts going back from where it starts rising, because at that extreme point the day is the shortest, the nights are the longest. No wonder we burn a bonfire on the longest night, Lodi in Punjab and other places. And it's also a cold part of the season, or it's midwinter at that time, so that is why we light bonfires early morning in the southern parts of the country. But then the sun starts its journey back, which means that the shortest day is over, and then the days start becoming longer. And this journey is called Uttarayan, means the sun has started its northward journey again. For us, it's the opposite that happens. It actually goes to the north and it starts moving back to the south in the southern hemisphere. So what we're calling is that means it's a winter solstice day in the northern hemisphere, whilst it's a summer solstice day for us in the southern hemisphere. So we, of course, celebrate here because we belong to a particular heritage and we belong to a particular ancestry. So we carry on with those practices. So we do it. But what is the Northern Hemisphere essentially celebrating is that it is once again the abundance of the sun, because the sun is going to increase in abundance for the next 6 months, which means that's a good time to do a lot of other activities, right from the farming, moving around, marriages, auspicious things, new business, new ventures, because there's going to be more daytime and things are going to be warmer. So it's going to be better. It's better and convenient for the human body to be able to conduct all these practices. So on these factors, this particular festival is celebrated, which is essentially on these two factors. One, the movement of the sun into the Capricorn constellation, zodiacal sign, and the other is the Uttarayan, or the return journey of the sun back to its glorious days. Gopalbhai, you want to comment further on this? Because I have a few questions that I would then like to raise and see if we can find some answers around it.
Mohan, basically, I know, okay, the Makara Sankranti festivals, and then you have went through the importance of the till and kite festivals. Now, which just now you started with the mentioning one word is called the question. When you ask the question yourself, then you get answer. Now, I have a question about: do our youth ask the question themselves, why we celebrating this festival? Number one. Number two, let us understand is, as we just mentioned about the Capricorn entering, and the all focus goes towards the kite flying and everything. Let us go through about why so much important of the kite flying, and we as individual, like particularly in India, spend almost whole day outside in the sun, and then we can go through about the religious aspects, which is I will talk about it later on. But there's definitely this scientific effect on it by spending a time outside in the sun, and a particular time when the sun enter in a Capricorn. What do you think, Mohan bhai?
Gopal bhai, I have, what is the doubt that was plaguing me is, now we celebrate Sankranti on two counts. One we call Uttarayan, which means the return journey of the sun towards the north, which means essentially it is the winter solstice day because the sun's journey is reversing. And the other is its entry into Capricorn, Makara. On both these counts, my question is that the winter solstice day today, I mean, in our current era, is happening around 21st of December. And yet we are celebrating the Uttarayan on the 14th of January. Why?
Okay, so let me just go through about it. Winter solstice happening in the sometime 21st December, that is understandable. But when the sun enter into the Makar, means a Capricorn, That's where the actually the real movement, because remember we have a 12 month, ne? So the each month sun moves, like is each month, like astrological point of view, the each month sun stays into the one zodiac sign. So between 15 December till the 14 January or 15 January, that is also not a fixed date. Maybe it can be a 16 January too. Sometime it happen on 13 January too. The sun stay in the Sagittarius. So the sun not into the Capricorn. Although winter solstice happening in December, but the impact of the sun, which is move into the Makar zone, means Capricorn zone, means Makar area, do not give enough result which supposed to be give. That is why this 10-15 days gap always is remain there, because the impact which supposed to be get the sun impact, because all about this celebration is all about the sun. Okay, Lohri and the other part we understand, but the sun rays, which is so important on particularly
For
when the
human life.
sun move from the Sagittarius to the Capricorn, and that those rays are so powerful because now moving towards the completely north side. And remember the from 22nd December till the 15th January, the sun degree are technically is not so powerful, because then the sun start a new cycle from the 14th January. And that is why 13, 14 and 15th January, only 3 days, the advisable to celebrate that Uttar Ayan, non ke bhai, celebrate as a Makar Sankranti, and then spend your time into the sun to get as much as sun power you can do. And we all of us know in Mahabharat, Bhishma Pitamaha also waited till the Uttar Ayan to be start before he released himself from the human body, because that's much powerful the sun when you enter into the Uttar Ayan like that.
Yeah, and I think there again is the question that the constellation of Capricorn or the Makara Rasi, as we like to call it as Rasi, is that again that also is shifting. So currently, just like the equinox, I mean the winter solstice shifted, because the winter solstice, we must understand, does not happen same day every year. Every year it changes by about 20 minutes. As it goes on, in 72 years it actually shifts by one whole day, which means prior to 72 years, roughly a 72-year period, we do not know when it actually started, where we consult the panchangs and all that. It was a day before, it was on 22nd. Before that, it was 23rd of December. Like that, if we go on calculating the 72 years, 14th of January, because we do not know when Bhishma Pitama decided to go into Uttarayan, as per our current calendar date, which date it was, we don't know easily, because the exact date of Mahabharata has not yet been established. There are various theories, but that will be a whole new discussion which we will enjoy very much if we talk. I'm sure our listeners will enjoy. One day we should do that. What are the dates
Yeah,
of Mahabharata?
yeah.
When do you think it happened? There are many pointers
But
there which we can talk. But coming to
yeah,
this
you
thing,
see,
that he wanted to move in that time. So that means if I assume that sometime in the past on 14th of January was the winter solstice day, then it is taking me to the year 1700 years before us. That time, actually, winter solstice was on 14th of January.
no, no,
And
you
same
see,
as Rasi also is shifting, except
no, no,
English sunset. English Rasi doesn't
yeah,
shift.
yeah, yeah. You see, let me go through that. Okay, the Mahabharat stories we will talk one day nicely. It is nice topic to discuss. As far as the date concerns, we always focus onto the our tithi calendar, the tithi, because we are more towards the moon side. We, because our tithi design according to the moon, and moon stays. A moon is a run means walk faster than the sun. The each planet have a different time frame to move. Now, when it's come to the, as you just mentioned about it, the Makar Sankranti on 14th is not actually all the time falls on the 14th. We all of us know. Because when we design the Panchang, we'll know. That's why I started about. Sometime is on 13, sometime is on 14, sometime is on 15. In the 50 years later, maybe you and me might not be here, but the sun transit will happen maybe on 17th or 19th January. The reason why is that the galaxy movement, changing the positions and the speed of the sun all the time change. Sometimes the sun run fast, move fast, sometimes sun takes time. And that is why in our Panchang we introduce Adhik month. In the same time, in English calendar, it called the leap year. To balance this, as you just mentioned about 22 second, 10 second, 15 second, and those are plus minus which happens during the year as movement of the sun or movement of the moon, either sun calendar or moon calendar, always movement happen, less movement, faster movement happen. To balance that one, that's why the introduction comes as a leap year or adhik month. So then this calendar do not get imbalance every 2 years or every 3 years or every 4 years. It takes like more than 100 years to just introduce a new date or new time zone. Like recently, I think 3 4 years ago, first time in India, we have a two time zone. You know, कि भाई the sunrise happen in the in a maybe in, I think in the West India. I'm going to correct it later on. In the West India and the East India, both west side of the India and east side of the India, there's almost like 20-minute difference between of them. So that is exactly has happened couple of years ago. So that is always going to be happen. Now the meaning behind it for us to understand is the Makar Sankranti, which we call Uttarayan. And we all of us know the other festival which we mentioned about Bihu and the Lohri and everything. The, those days which we consider ourselves 5 days of the transit are important for us to celebrate those festivals. And that is why the dates will remain in between. So those who know that, they will do the actual dan karma on those particular days. Sometime, like simple example, I will give you to this year. Ideally, this year, Mahashivratri. So the Mahashivratri actually, like we are in a South Africa. Let's look the geographical situations. So we are into the continent of the Africa in southern part. India in Asian continent in the different part. Now the based on sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, the Mahashivratri India will celebrate on the 1st of March. But we in Southern Africa are going to celebrate on 28th of February. Why? Because of these are the various reasons which that transit always happens plus and minus. And that is why you will see some changes in the future. And then with the time, the Panchang maker will make some changes into the introductions. But only the sometime our people get confused. Oh no, last year, so many years, we celebrate Uttarayan on 14th January. Now you suddenly introduce on 16th of January. But to make them understand, it takes a while because human natures are human nature.
No, but it will be good that if they question as to why,
That's why I
because
said,
for the sake of the viewers and just for them to understand also, our weather or seasons happens because of our rotation around the sun. Because our Earth is tilted, it is the sun, and it's the amount of time that the sun bulb is on for us dictates the seasons for us. Okay, and but then for farming, because we are a civilization which was essentially agrarian. And for farming, we know that water on the planet Earth is very much influenced by the moon cycles. So we devised a panchang where we tried to demarcate the days as per the rotation of the moon. So whilst we did that, we knew that if we did not, but the moon cycle is not exactly 30 days. The moon cycle is actually 27 to 29 days, which means that if we go by the moon, every 32 months, our year falls short by almost 28 to 29 to 30 days. That is why we have every 32 months, means once in every 2.5 years, we roughly have the Adhik Mas, one extra month to adjust it. If we don't do that, what will happen is it will become like Ramadan. Because you see, in the Islamic societies, they follow only the moon cycle. So their dates every year shifts by 10 days. Second year, third year shift, and it keeps on shifting. So what happens is after 10 years, or 20 years, your Ramzan might actually fall in the middle of winter. But earlier it would fall in the middle of summer. Why? Because it is shifting 10 days. But in the Hindu Panchang, what we've done is we have made it 10 days. If we do the year, we will fall behind. So in order to do the correction, we did the Adhik Mas, so that we are back with the sun cycle. So overall, we know we because we need to conduct our daily lives, so we go by the moon cycles, because it affects the water in the earth, as you can see with the tides, which are dependent on the moon. So to do that, we go on the moon cycle. But when we follow that, once in 32 months, we fall behind. So we have an Adhik Masa to adjust it. So we are back with the solar cycle, and we remain current. In this, then there's one more thing called sidereal year or a synodic year, which means that if, let us say, we see the moon at one point in the sky, for the moon, which is, let us say, the new moon, to come back to the same point in the new moon actually takes 27 days, because that means the moon has actually completed full circle around the earth. But the earth in 1 month has moved forward a bit. You see, we are going around the sun, so we are not at the same place. We've gone a little forward. So new moon for us is visible 2 days later only. Thus, the moon has to travel 2 more days before it comes back to its original position that we have seen it. I hope it makes sense in a 3-dimension sense. That is the Cyanotic month, and that is roughly 29 days. So what happens is, for the moon to make exact circle is 27 days, but for the moon to be visible exactly where we saw it last is 29 days. Why? Because our earth also has moved forward in this orbit a bit. That is 29 days. That is called the Cyanotic month. Now, because we have calculated everything as per the moon, we have our rasis, and we say, okay, the sun also is visible in a constellation. And we basically, because of these rules, and I want to explain one more small rule. In our calendars, what we do is, the moon, because of its cycles, is counted as 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? Up to 14, and then the Amavasya, whatever. But a day, for it to be considered, like for example, today is, let us say, Purnima. Now, Purnima may have started at 10 o'clock in the daytime. Then we need to have a convention for society to follow. So what our ancestors did in the Panchang is, they said, if the moon has come to Purnima position after sunrise, then we'll not consider that day as Purnima, because when they wait, the moon actually covers next day sunrise. After the sunrise, for 2 more hours, the full moon is there. Then at sunrise, whatever the position of the moon, that day is called that day. So if there's any celebration, let us say, which you want to celebrate on Purnima day, a festival, then that, because of the moon cycle, can sometimes shift from 8th January to 8th March to 9th March, or like that. And it happens because of this convention that we have. See, you need a convention, no? Because all of us must follow something. Because if every day we say the moon, on the basis of the moon, we'll say it is Amavasya, or it is Trayodashi, or it is Chaturdashi, or it is Purnima. But to say that our convention is at sunrise, what is the moon's status? That day will be declared as Purnima, or that day will be declared as the Chaturdashi, or that day will be declared as Ekadashi, and we follow the whole practice for that day. So, like this, that is what brings this little difference in the dates of festivals, one day to other day. But now Sankranti, something else is happening. In Sankranti, the 13th, 14th, 15th is because of the moon cycles that we do. But then the winter solstice, that has moved almost 25 days. There was a time when winter solstice was on 14th of January. But then today it is happening, which we call Uttarayan, is actually happening, physically happening, astronomically, as per the sky, it's happening on the 21st of December. Yet we are celebrating it on that day. And same way, Makar Sankranti, Makara movement also happens earlier because that also is shifting. And here my thinking is, my reason which I think about it is, Gopalji, the there's a difference between Indian system of astrology and the Western astrology. In Western astrology, they have divided the sky into all these signs, zodiac signs as we call as Rasi. Then they gave a date, and that date has remains fixed throughout forever. Indian system is not like that. Exactly like you said, Tithi. We go with that. So our Rashis are are not fixed. They happen according to what is in the sky. It takes the actual position and then it plots on the earth. You plot the horoscope of a person and all those things because these are all planetary bodies are all moving. So we can't go with what has already been fixed. Why is the English system fixed and the Indian system dynamic? Why is that static? Why is our dynamic? Now, because in history people have lost from where the original thing came. My belief is that it was the Indians who first discovered all these things. And then, sometime 2000 years ago, the West, particularly the Greeks, when they came with Alexander, met with Indian people and Indian priests and Indian pundits, learned these things and took it back to Greece. When they took it back, they took our system, but not our skill. So the system that they took back, they're following that system for 2000 years. So today, if let's say the dates of Aries, Mesha, is from 23rd March to 23rd April, but as per the sky, it is Pisces, it's Meena. It's not even Aries anymore because the sky has shifted. The earth has shifted in relation to the sky in 2000 years. But they have stuck to the same signs. And I
Yeah,
think
that is why.
what happened was we also lost some of our signs once the English occupied us and colonized us. So in the end, we borrowed some of that, and our thing also remained fixed. And that is why what we were following as Makar Sankranti 2000 years ago has remained fixed with us because these calendars and sky positions have come back to us back from the West. And we have now started following winter solstice on 14th of January, when winter solstice is actually moved to 21st of December.
You
My
see, that's
thinking.
why if we look at that, okay, where we, as we was talking about the Rashi. So what happened with the Rashi in our Rashi system? Ne, the first things first, our Rashi system start with the one is a Rashi, but behind the Rashi there is a 27 nakshatra. 27 nakshatra, and each Rashi have a two and a half nakshatra basically to go through. And each nakshatra have a rishi, and each rishi gives a word to the Rashi. So, for example, if we says Mohan Bhai, so technically in a Western culture it called the Leo, and we said Simha Rasi. But the day you born, that's why we always ask what date you born plus what time you born. Time is very crucial. And which place you born. The reason why is the day you born maybe is the moon into the Simha Rasi, but maybe that Simha Rasi is Rasi, but Nakshatra is not because in that nakshatra in Simha Rasi there is a two word ma and ta. So ma and ta. So your name came say be Mohan. So Mo Mo. Maybe if nakshatra is something else, then your name could have given into the Mu or Ma. Sometime Ta. Although it's a Simha Rasi, but name can be a change. That how deep rooted our Panchang. Now coming back to that Makar transit and everything, since everything is becoming a westernization, so some to a point our festivals also becoming a westernizations, because remember one thing always when I used to study, my Guruji taught us, I'm consistently telling is that Makar Sankranti always don't come on 14th December, sorry, 14th January. There is always maybe the 13th, maybe the 15th, maybe the 16th. That my Guruji told us years ago. But the problem is starts where in a culture, in a traditions, when politics get involved. So the national calendar, the government calendar declared 14th is the Makar Sankranti. Now blindly, everybody says 14th is the Makar Sankranti. A Panchang maker, actually those who know, in that Panchang, we say 14th last 2 years, I think 2 years ago in my calendar, I think if I'm check that one, if I will find it, 14th was blank, and then we put actually Makar Sankranti on 15th. The reason why is, as you just explained about, based on sunrise and sunset. So it was a very a nice talk with Mohan Bhai, and I know this conversation cannot be end, but time is limiting us. So we
Yeah.
have to be, normally our show is maximum is 25-30 minutes. So today is the first time we have reached up to the 40 minutes, which is very
Okay.
good. And
Yeah.
uh, any last comment, Mohan Bhai, from your side?
Only thing is, once again, yes, thank you very much, Vyasji. I think if we discuss this kind of thing, maybe sometimes if we are able to share the screen and show some models, it become easier to understand, because when this is a very, very complex model. Remember, the sun is there, then the earth is moving around it, the moon is moving around the sun, the earth is slightly tilted, the tilt is also, one sided. So it's a very, very complex model. Sometimes a few screen might help, but yes, let's see if possible some other time.
You see,
But
Mohan
I
Bhai,
think it
what
was
we'll
very
do.
interesting. I hope our listeners have taken something from
You
this. Thank
see,
you.
Mohan Bhai, okay, when we started this our Dharma talk, ne, we started in a technically in a lockdown, where it was very hardcore lockdown, and then after we moved, but so what I'll do, maybe sometime next few months or few weeks, we will find and we will have one nice coffee session at your home, and then we will work out the strategy how to share the screen and how to use the technology more to make it
Yeah.
more useful for our viewers, and then our uh, consistent supporters who are enthusiastic, who wants to know. And definitely we will going to be improved, as we said, this year it will be more uh, uh, debate type of the talks, and maybe future we're going to bring a few guests as well as to have a nice debate. And if any viewers from this side who watching, and if they can think maybe they can be a part of this talk, you always contact me, always contact Mohan Bhai. We will introduce you, we will be include you into the our talk, and then we will have a more informative sessions in the futures, because we still have a 11th month to go, and more we can learn. So thank you, Mohan Bhai. We will have a nice coffee day one day in the evening, and then we'll go through, and take care and stay
Thank
safe
you.
and stay healthy.
Thank you,
Once
Gopal
again,
Vyasji.
thank you for your valuable time and everything which you're giving to us.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. So this was the our talk, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Not to take too much time. Once again, Dhanyavad. Thank you to all the viewers and devotees. If you see this is something informative, share, subscribe in your friends and family group. Stay safe, stay healthy, because we believe Mandir is safer than the supermarket.